Make sure you go and check out carmarshall.com. Over 100,000 new and used cars from dealers. You shop, you see what you like, negotiate prices, and get you a very good deal. What is going on, people? Jay the Black here. Back with another video. Salute to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about the real reason people are pressed, especially some of you females are very pressed about this Jesse Lee Peterson, Amara La Negra interview. I was actually going to speak about this a couple days ago, but I didn't. But I'm speaking about it now because I actually saw this interview last month, but now it's going viral because I don't know, the internet does that. These blogs, they ignore certain things. I guess when there's like a slow news week, they repost things that they probably been holding off on for a while. And this interview goes semi-viral. Other blogs are writing about it. But I saw this last month, okay? I was actually surprised that she was going to do this interview because I knew she didn't know much about Jesse Lee Peterson. But, Jesse Lee, he's a conservative. And I think that people misconstrue how his behavior in his interviews, because Jesse Lee is an entertainer. He does these interviews for entertainment purposes. It's not necessarily like he's putting out his conservative viewpoints. He's trolling, he's entertaining, but he's speaking truths here and there. Now, I don't agree with a lot of what Jesse Lee Peterson does. I think he can be annoying at times. I think he does things to throw people off. That's just his interview style. That's how he comes across. But I'm going to get to the core of why people are pressed about this particular interview. I think that when you're dealing with Amara La Negra, now I've done a video or two on her, but it's been a while. I haven't done a video on Amara La Negra in a while. But, she's a female who promotes being afro-latina. We know what's crazy? Before I really knew more about her, I actually thought that she was like an export, but she's actually born and raised in Miami. And she had the afro. But what's interesting is that since this particular interview has gone semi-viral, her family members have come out and debunked, her, lying about her eye color, which I thought was minute, but again, it just shows her character. That's all it does. And the afro, of course, being fake. I had women tell me that they thought they knew the afro was fake. That she's doing this because she wants to build an audience, and she's not dumb. She understands that if she identifies as Afro-Latina, because she could just say she's a black woman, but she respects her Latin culture, and she wants that to be a part of the music that she makes. But she also realizes that there is an audience of black women that may listen to her. Now, I don't know if it's helping, but when you look in the comment section of the video clip of this particular back and forth about Amara La Negra and how Jesse Lee was telling her not to identify as Afro-Latina, I think in that exchange, Jesse Lee was he was basically trolling her, and that's what he does. But I will tell you this about Jesse Lee, though. Jesse Lee, say whatever you want about Jesse Lee Peterson. He goes to the slut walks. He's interviewed IG models. Jesse Lee knows what's going on. He was basically flirting with Amara La Negra at different times during this particular interview. You'd have to pick up on it, but Jesse Lee has his own way, because he's complimenting her the whole interview, and I doubt he's listened to one of her songs. He's seen the videos of her, all right. He said that he's seen videos of her and she's talented, but I know what videos he's talking about, and I don't think it's musically, He doesn't make. There were a lot of women that were very pressed about this interview, and I see it in the comments. They don't like Jesse. They think he's crazy. They think that he's bashing black women. But that's just what Jesse Lee does. And you can tell a lot of those people who actually listen to the interview, you can tell that they've never seen any of his videos. That's what Jesse Lee does. He triggers people. That's Jesse Lee Peterson. I think he gets an enjoyment out of throwing people off, asking them uncomfortable questions. That's his interview style, especially if you're on a different side politically of him. He does things to sort of get under your skin because it makes for better content, because Jesse Lee is an entertainer. And the fact that people are taking him that seriously just shows you that a lot of people don't understand how the internet works. They don't understand how social media works. People will do things because they're trying to get hits and clicks. So they're going to ask uncomfortable questions during interviews. People have done this before. Jesse Lee isn't the only one. But I don't agree with knocking down Black Americans. He did that when he was talking to her. I don't agree with that. I think you need to expose the issues that are going on in the Black community. But to segment people off and say, hey, don't identify as them because this, I can't say I agree with that. But I understood where he was coming from as a female who seems to be more part of her Latin side than her African side or African descendant side. I can understand him saying, well, there's no need to identify as afro-latina. You don't need to promote that. But she was against it, of course. And you can tell that she didn't know anything about Jesse Lee going into this interview. She really didn't, But that's what Jesse Lee does. He triggers people during these interviews, And you can tell during the interview and how he sort of ends the interviews, But for the people that were very pressed about this and they were really angry about this, understand something, okay? This is social media at the end of the day. This is not CNN. This is not Fox. This is not misinformation, BC. This is the internet. This is YouTube. A lot of these guys are entertainers. Yeah, they're going to be putting truth out there, but at the end of the day, they're there to entertain. And these interviews are meant to entertain. If you actually go to Jesse Lee's channel, the Fallen State channel, which is where this interview is on, you will see that. But the comments that I've seen, and it's mostly been from Black women. Black women have been very triggered by this. I don't know why. People throwing the coon word around. They call him an Uncle Tom. Say whatever you want about Jesse, but Jesse, he knows how to get under people's skin. He really does. And people let this guy get under their skin. If you actually go and look at his other interviews, especially if you're a liberal, he really asks them very cringy questions in a very cringy manner. That's what he does. And I think that Amara should have done a little bit more research before going on his show, because at times she did literally look like a deer in the headlights. Now I will say this about Amara. Amara, she can be funny at times. She has the way she talks at times, her mannerisms, even in this interview. There were times, it makes you want to chuckle a bit, but that's just how entertainment is. Entertainment at times is meant to make you laugh or to, pull emotions out of you. You don't want no boring, dry interview, right? So I'm not saying it was a good interview. I'm not saying it was a bad interview. It was an interview to showcase who Jesse Lee is. The guy is a troll, okay? He's a troll, and he trolls his guests. He may ask them some serious questions during it, but he will ask also very cringy, awkward questions as well. And I don't think that people should really be that triggered over this. And I noticed a lot of sisters were very triggered by this because he's telling her not to. They feel like he's telling her not to be a Black American woman, which is really not exactly what he's saying. He's basically told her that Black people in America don't have any culture and you shouldn't want to be like them. Once again, I don't condone putting down Black American people. If you want to expose the problems in the community, that's fine. But putting people down, again, in the way that he does it, which is, I feel like, in a troll-like manner, I don't necessarily say I think I agree with that, but you got these sisters who are literally angry because they think that he's telling her not to identify as a Black American woman, to basically distance yourself from Black American women. And I don't think he was necessarily saying that, but I think that he feels like Black American culture, especially the rise of thottism, he doesn't want her to agree with that. But Jessie has to understand, Amara La Negra is a bit thotty. Okay? You know, look at some of the music videos she's done. I mean, this woman is literally doing interviews having dudes grab her, you know, her assets to prove if they're real or not. So I'm not saying that makes her thought. I'm just saying that she's very expressive. You know, she even, I think, admitted to making music about sexual freedom. What do you think that means? You know, she's also been accused of, you know, sleeping with Love and Hip Hop Miami co-star's boyfriend and getting caught up, you know. You know, and I also will say this though. She mentioned something very interesting during the interview. She talked about how Jesse Lee was, you know, he told me, he was like, Jesse Lee was ready to risk it all during this interview, right? And he says, you know, I got money, I can take care of you, take care of you. And she was like, well, you have to take care of her and her mother. He's like, oh no, I'm not taking care of your mom. This is gonna be me and you. And she's basically was, and also she was like, Jessie was like, well, we get together and we in the same house, then what about your mother? And, you know, and she basically was like, her mother will entertain herself, turn up the music and sort of ignore whatever is going on in the background, you know? And I always thought that was very interesting, you know what I'm saying? That literally her mother and her are that connected, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like people, especially you sisters, should not be so damn pressed about this interview. And the fact that y'all are pressed about this interview says a lot about you and your insecurities. This guy basically was trolling her throughout the interview at times, and y'all really think that he's trying to make it seem like she shouldn't identify with Black American women. But if you have listened to Jesse Lee Peterson like I've listened to him throughout various interviews he's done, that's what he does. That's Jesse Lee Peterson. That's just, don't let the guy being older fool you. I mean, the guy understands what's going on social media. He's on social media. That's why he's interviewing these IG models. That's why he interviews the people they interviews. He knows what's going on out here. He may not do a whole lot of research in depth in them, but he knows what's going on out here. This guy interviewed Amber Rose. You know, go look at the Amber Rose interview and then go look at the Amara La Negra interview. Are you going to see any differences? So y'all let me stay in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.